better than this.
What a blow!
The Barangay Ginebra Kings still have a shot for an outright semis ticket, but they do need to sweep their last 3 games and hope that San Miguel and Derby Ace won't get to 13 wins. They brought in a new point guard in this lineup in the hopes of making it back to the top. Now, Coca-Cola is coming off an almost 2-week rest and are on a mission to ensure a better placing in the wild card. They too brought in a new reinforcement that could help the locals boost their chances. Welcome to the Ninoy Aquino Stadium in the heart of Manila, where we anticipated to get wilder than in the Manila Zoo down the street. That's when you have the Coca-Cola Tigers clawing their way through against the wacky and the wild barangay of the Ginebra Kings, who will feature a new cool cat in their roster. You heard me, right? I'm Patricia Bermudez Hilon. Mike Cortez is the newest face to join the Barangay Ginebra Kings. Meanwhile, the Coca-Cola Tigers are also getting a new help in John Williamson. Get to meet him throughout this ballgame as these new reinforcements will try to extend their chances of these teams as we take a look at the team standings. Because of the game and victorious yesterday, Talk and Tech secured an outright semi slot against an importless San Miguel squad whose second place is at 11-4 standing. D-Megs at third with 10-5, while Ginebra and Alaska try to keep pace for at least an outright quarters ticket. Now, looking at Coca-Cola, they are at the wild card phase and they are hoping to get a better advantage when it comes to that. And I'm sure you guys know how important it is to win on this scintillating Sunday. Now, just to take you guys around the league, let's turn it over to Leah Cruz.
All right, thank you, Pat. Yes, I am also on board for this ball game, taking care of things from the end of the Coca-Cola Tigers. Now, before we get to all the action of the court and props, quite a game, let's first check out what's been happening around the league as we check out our Around the League segment here in PBA. Now, the PBA Liga made its most recent stop down south of Metro Manila in Parañaque, this time for the Merville leg, and they recently wrapped up their championship ball game where the residents of Merville were able to experience what the brand of basketball is like here in the PBA. Now, of course, PBA Liga is sort of an effort of the PBA Basketball TV and Solar TV to bring PBA basketball closer to the residents of Metro Manila. Now, from Parañaque, we move over to Bacolod, where the Batang PBA Clinic made its latest stop.
I would like to thank Commissioner Sunny Barrios for this Batang PBA, their outreach program. It is really a big help for our kids as far as grassroots development is concerned. And of course, to our main sponsor, the Coca-Cola Bottlers Philippines Incorporated.
PBA, Commissioner Barrios, nakapagpapasa sa mga bata na makipaglaro sa Batang PBA talent to.
There you go, just a taste of what's been happening around the league here in the PBA, but it's time to get to our ball game between the Barangay Ginebra Kings and the Coca-Cola Tigers, and for that I turn you over to the men of our distinguished panel, Tito Dadadin and Dr. J. Andy Howe.
Thank you, Leah. PBA Sunday continues here at the Ninoy Aquino Stadium with another monster meeting coming up. Coca-Cola meeting Barangay Ginebra, both teams raring to show off their new looks. Basketball addicts of the Philippines, hello and welcome to our continuing coverage of the PBA Fiesta Conference here on Solar TV. Along with Dr. J. Andy Howe, I'm Vito Lasatina. Doc, let's get straight to it. The biggest sports story of the weekend. The Barangay Ginebra Kings this season have already made a lot of changes to their lineup. Now they've added yet another piece to what they hope will be their championship puzzle. The Cool Cats, Mike Cortez, now a Barangay Ginebra King. And I have to ask you, what do you think the motives are behind this move?
Well, they have the big men already in this squad. You know, only the fact that is, of course, Eric Mek is still hurt, but they hope to be able to get him back soon. Then you got Enrico Villanueva, you got Yancy De Ocampo, you have the import, Denham Brown, you have Rudy Hudson, whom they acquired this year. So obviously, medyo puno sila dun sa forward lineup nila. So they needed another point guard in the sense that JJ Helterbrand really hasn't been playing well. Celine Cruz, of course, is a good player, but he comes in and out. This is a solid player that has played with Willie Miller and played with some of the people that played in San Miguel in the past. His averages this year with the Air 21 are 11 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists. So pretty good numbers here, and you got a veteran that has won championships. Obviously, they want to be able to have a guy that can speed up the game, but can also control the game. With him playing as the point together with JJ and Celino, they don't have to use Willie Miller at that spot. Willie Miller and Mark Agiwa will be playing in the 2 spot.
So with the previous associations of Mike Cortez and some of the Barangay Ginebra Kings, it shouldn't feel like too new a situation for the Cool Cats. In fact, we were joking around backstage, adding another guard. This Ginebra King squad has enough guards to make a security agency. Now, this is not the only player that will be making his debut today. John Williamson is going to be the third import being brought in by the Coca-Cola squad. And I have to ask you the same question here. They already had a very prolific scorer in Rashad Bell. Why replace him now?
Well, I think more than anything else is because of the win-loss column when he came in. He's making the numbers, he's getting his points, getting his rebounds, but they're not winning a lot of games. And there's a big problem there because what's happening is sometimes we see Rashad, nothing against his character, but he's just a fiery player. And sometimes he has a tendency to shout at his teammates if they don't make the right plays.
Right.
So obviously, you know, your team is going to be based on a local lineup. If the local lineup isn't going to be happy with your imports, you certainly have problems. So they're hoping to be able to secure a guy that can play an all-around game. You know, in other words, know how to score, but know how to pass, and know how to do things and get along with his teammates. James Penny was okay. The only problems with James was he had some personal problems.
Well, gutsy move on the part of the Coca-Cola organization. How do you get rid of an import that just scored 26 points along with 24 rebounds in their last game against Air 21? Now, the Barangay Ginebra Kings have also gotten on the import merry-go-round 3 times. And so far, they have to be happy with what they've gotten in their third acquisition in Denham Brown.
Well, okay, he's given them, in 2 games, he's given them 25.5 points plus 11.5 rebounds, about 2 assists. The only problem is they haven't really played teams that are strong. So, you know, the test there is, of course, when he has to play against tough teams that have tough imports. Maybe this could be a test. First of all, for Ginebra, this is a test because we may have no idea how John Williamson plays. He comes from Cincinnati. He didn't come. He came from Ohio. That reminds me of LeBron, Columbus. And Columbus is the place of Jack Nicklaus,
right,
the great golfer. And but he did play for University of Cincinnati, which usually has very good players because their recruiting there is very good. Kenyon Martin and so on and so forth. So this could be a test also for the Barangay Ginebra Kings on how to defend against an import that you may not really know much about. But, you know, Brown is okay, so we'll take a look at him in the next couple of games. As Patricia mentioned, it's still a very important game for Ginebra because they want to be able to have a chance at the semis, but if not, at the very least, to have that slot in the 3, 4, 5 because you don't want to play in the wild card.
Now, if you like high-scoring PBA superstars, then you are in for a treat because we have 2 of the most prolific local players playing today. You've got Mark Aguiwa for the Barangay Ginebra Kings and the #1 local scorer in the PBA Fiesta Conference, Gary David, for the Coca-Cola Tigers. And there's a look at their comparative numbers. Gary David, we mentioned #1 among locals. #7 overall, coming off a 29-point performance against Air 21. Coca-Cola is one of the few teams where their local players, Gary David specifically, actually ends up scoring more than their import.
Well, because he has a lot of minutes. You know, Kagiwa can get 25 points if you're going to give him all the time playing the 2 guard. However, with the Ginebra squad, you have Willie Miller there. Plus, you sometimes use Ronald Tubid also in the 2 guard position. So, you know, there is less time for you to really come up. The point there is not whether you're scoring a lot, but whether your team is winning. I really would like to see Gary David's numbers in rebounds improve because he used to be a pretty decent rebounder. Maybe in the 5-6 average rebounds plus a couple of more assists. Not just scoring, but giving it up to his teammates.
So that said, it's time to grab a drink, then get into your seats and buckle up because we're on in a few. It's the Barangay Ginebra Kings meeting the Coca-Cola Tigers next on the PBA on Solar TV. Better than this season after all. As kids get ready to go back to school, we're getting ready here at the Ninoy Aquino Stadium to get our second game of this PBA Sunday underway. And the starting lineup of the Barangay Ginebra Kings making their way: J.J. Hildebrand, Willie Miller, Yancy De Ocampo, Denham Brown, and Rudy Hatfield. Same lineup that the Barangay Ginebra Kings used in their last game, a win over Barako Coffee last time around.
Yeah, you know, Barangay Ginebra certainly has had almost you could say a miraculous ride here. You know, all those changes from time to time. They have won some very close games. They've come from behind several times against Barako, against Rain or Shine. You know, in the 4th quarter, they've come up with strong finish. But that's the character of their team. Obviously,